Greetings, salutations, respect, and love, my chicken heads. Oh, today on the live Sunday Prog stream, you guys have waited for it, an entire episode dedicated to a band with death growls on the Prog Corner. Have we gone insane? Are you in the right place? Well, absolutely you have, and I have assembled a cast of all stars here today as we go through the mighty Opeth and talk about their 10 best songs. How do you separate it out with all that greatness? Well, we're going to do just that. Wayne, how are you? All the way from Alberta today. Wayne, what's going on?
Nothing much. This week had about a huge wildfire go through about a few hours away from here. Wiped out about 30%, 30 to 50% of Jasper.
Oh, geez.
Set 400 foot high flames. So
wow, Jasper. I know Jasper because they had The Bachelorette or some show I was watching. They were up in Jasper. Looks real pretty up that way.
It's been all over the news here too. So yeah.
We got three Canadians on the panel here: Travis, me, and Wayne.
Wow.
Yeah, it's So my thoughts go out to the people of Jasper.
Yeah.
Really, really sad.
That's terrible. I hadn't heard. I live in a cocoon. I know nothing. But, it seems like I'm the only American on the panel because Rhymes, Signatures, Ian in the house. You're not American.
Not last I checked, at least, anyway. I mean, I could do a terrible, terrible American accent just to confuse everybody, but I don't want to subject anybody to that. We'll just keep it with good old-fashioned me. Hello. Good to be back.
Oh, it's good to have you. Oh, my goodness. The people went crazy for you. Your debut on the Prog Corner. Had to have you back. You're always welcome. Can we say the same thing about Travis? Well, obviously he's back. Second bite at the apple. Travis, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Been listening to a ton of Opeth. And looking forward to talking about this really important and excellent band.
They are an important band. I mean, honestly, name a more important band in Prague today.
No.
Yeah, no.
I refuse.
Tree, there's only a couple that even come that you can even discuss, right? In the same category. They're that big, right?
Yeah.
Modern.
Yeah.
Dream Theater, maybe.
Yeah.
Dream Theater, Porcupine Tree, Opeth. That's kind of the holy trinity,
right?
Really, isn't it? Yeah.
Marillion.
People who fill like stadiums almost.
Marillion moves
big prog headliners.
But we're talking about them anyway, regardless how big they are. I don't care. I love them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have okayed this episode. And back after a little brief hiatus away from us, Cody. Oh, welcome back from Cody and Brockway's Vinyl Bites. What's going on today?
I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be back. It was actually my birthday 2 days ago.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Actually, it was my dad's birthday too. We shared the same birthday, as wicked as that seems. And so that's what we've been up to, and of course other surprises, right? But most surprises that people already know about. It's been well documented now.
Yeah. What are we referring to?
I don't know. What are we referring to?
There's an empty chair next to you, so. Oh, she's back. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, she is still in Canada.
Yes.
Indefinitely.
So, if you people out there had your over-unders for 7 days before Tara got sick of Cody's antics and flew back to Ireland, you've officially lost your bet. So I feel good. I bet the over on that one. But that was the over-under in Vegas.
She's been here 2 weeks. I thought for sure at some point that I was going to blow this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only gotten better, if you can believe that. It's only gotten stronger and better. So it's been great. And,
that's sweet. We love it. It's true love. It's wonderful. Anything can happen in the Prog Corner. It's just so awesome. But before we get started on Opeth, as per usual, I like to do a little bit of house cleaning and just want to say Shout out to the Sea of Tranquility. I was back on there last night. A great episode with me, Brendan Snyder, Pete Pardo, and Grant Arthur from Grant's Rock Warehouse. We were talking about Pomp Rock, so that was a lot of fun. Thank you, Pete. Always a pleasure to be on the Sea of Tranquility. But there's another YouTuber that I just can't say anything positive about at all right now. His name is Andy Edwards, and buddy, we're coming after you, but I'm gonna hold back. We're gonna reserve our retaliation until your reaction to our Neil Peart episode airs. I should be fair, right? I shouldn't retaliate until I see what actually you said. Maybe actually watch it first, but I know it's going to be dreadful, despicable, and awful, and I'm ready for you, sir. You're going to get what's coming to you, absolutely, but that's a whole other matter. This week on the Prog Corner, on a happier note, Prog feuds aside, we are interviewing Tusmork tomorrow on the channel. The Momrak brothers, Benedictor and Kriesla Momrak from Tusmork. Oh, they got a brand new album coming out next month. Amazing. Part of Charisma Month. And then I sat down with lead singer of Wobbler and Chronicles of Father Robin, Andres Presmo. We talk about all things Norway and coffee and mountainsides and long walks in the park and all that kind of stuff. Did you guys see Storm Corrosion finally coming back out on vinyl?
Yeah.
Oh, a long time coming.
Yes.
Wow. Good timing on that, because I missed out the last time. And now copies are going for like ridiculous amounts. I'm not down with that. But also next week, we're going to be talking about the new Focus 12. Oh, this is a good one, boys and girls. They're on a nice little run here. Focus 12, very, very good. We're going to get into details about it. But Focus 11 was fantastic too. And so was Focus 10. Come on, man. I love talking about bands that should be way past their peak, putting out great, great music. Focus definitely doing it. Next week, we're not going to be talking about dinosaurs next week, boys and girls. August 4th, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's the best modern prog rock bands, the top 10 21st century bands. I can't wait. We're going to have such a great, great panel for that. Can't wait to talk to you guys about my thoughts on that, and I want to hear yours. But today, we're getting deep into the mighty Opeth, and honestly, I just got to start with Ian, man.
Ooh, hello. Gosh.
I feel I need a direct mainline injection of pure Opeth love and knowledge, and I can't think of a better person to dispense it than Ian from Rhyme Signatures. You have the floor.
Woo! Oh, the floor. I do like the floor. Yeah, I've been listening to Opeth.
Hey, this is a family show, Ian.
I'll be good. I'm a nice boy. Don't worry. Like I said, I've been listening to Opeth for a very, very long time now. I kind of got my introduction to them just before Ghost Reveries came out. I had been exposed to Deliverance and Damnation at the time, was really, really enjoying that, the duality of what the band is capable of, loved that. But I've really sort of dove backwards into their catalog before jumping forwards. But obviously then Heritage happened, the difference in sort of styles with the band and everything like that. So I've kind of thinking about, what do I value the most out of Opeth? Where do I get my kicks from the band, sort of thing? I'd like to think maybe my list might be a little bit different to people's on this, with the possible exception of Travis's list. But I've got some surprises in this list. I've got some predictable stuff. So I'm just going to dive right into it. And just I've got some props, but I don't have all the albums on physical yet. So you'll see them flash up in my hands when relevant. So at number 10. And I can't think of a better place to start this list than the very first Opeth song, In Mist She Was Standing, off their debut record of Orchid. I love this album. I love this song. I think it's fantastic. It's an incredible statement piece for the band. This came out in like the early to mid 90s, and it was really kind of unprecedented in terms of its like style and atmosphere for the time that it came out. I do feel the song has very much lasted the test of time. It was kind of like, this is the band announcing themselves to the entire world, and there's so much of their future DNA in what can be seen in this track. I mean, okay, sure, it's a little bit rough and uncut around the edges, like most of Orchid. That's fine, but you take Orchid and Miss She Was Standing in general, you compare it to the debut albums of like other big prog bands. Dream and Day Unite by Dream Theater, Symphony X is self-titled, just no, they were not great albums, but Orchid is still brilliant. And I think In Miss She Was Standing is the perfect representation for how a band blasted onto the scene, and I had to include it in my top 10. I love it.
Good one.
Okay. Right, number 9. My first prop. How exciting. I'm going with Heart in Hand from Incorda Venenum. Now, I have to go with the Swedish version, of course, because it was written to be in Swedish, so I feel like we need to
It's better than the English version.
It is. I can't understand a word that's being said, but it still sounds a lot better, you know. Now, I'm a big fan of Incorda Venenum. I think it's a really, really good album. It's not my favorite era of the band, as you'll probably figure out through this list. I'm more of an old Opeth fan than a new Opeth fan, but I still love every single album. You know, I think every album is brilliant. Something about this particular track, though, it feels like it's a really good mashup, you know, between the band's newer style and their old school brutality. It feels to me like if you took a 70s prog rock band and told them, write me a heavy metal song, and that's kind of what you get with this one, with what Heart in Hand gives you. It's got like some of Ackerfeld's most impassioned vocals, I feel, since the likes of Ghost Reveries and what have you. But there's still space for some real stank-face riffing in this particular era of Opeth. It's still got some real, you know, throw the horns moments on it. And I think it's brilliant. You know, I love this song, love this album. I think it's fantastic at number 9.
Love it.
Right. We're going back in time a bit. I picked up a couple of records this week just gone by because I've been getting hyped for Opeth week. And we are going at number 8 with Karma from My Arms, Your Hearse. Their fantastic third record. I feel that this is really where the band started to become Opeth. You know, this is where they really, you could see what they were forming into. You know, the first 2 records, obviously Orchid and Morning Rise, there was a lot of finding their feet. You know, it felt like they were really figuring out who they were as a band, you know. But I feel that My Arms, Your Hearse, and specifically the track Karma, for me at least anyway. I mean, I could have picked anything on this. I nearly went with Demon of the Fall. It's such a live staple classic for the band, but I ultimately feel like Karma's a little bit better because it really does feel like it's the first song to really show a trajectory of where the band were heading with like future albums like Still Life, like with Blackwater Park, Deliverance, Damnation, Watershed, etc. And when you listen to that song, Karma, you can really feel the energy of the band. You know, this is a lot heavier, a lot darker, a lot more atonal and aggressive than anything on the first 2 albums. And I will, for my money, I will say that final minute of Karma is one of the coolest final minutes of any Opeth song ever. It's got the most badass riff I've ever heard in my life. I absolutely adore it. This is very much a top 5 Opeth album for me. I think it's brilliant, and I'm completely just like using the light.
I love it. Yeah.
You can't see it. Let's hold it at an angle. Where are we? There it is. There you go. Beautiful. This is the 2023 Abbey Road remaster, so it sounds incredible. It's just a brilliant record, and I love Karma. Such a good song. Okay. Where are we up to? Number 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. This is controversially the last song that's going to appear from the latest iteration of the band, the most recent 4 records. We are going with Voice of Treason from Pale Communion.
Yeah. Yes.
Love Pale Communion. I think this is probably one of their strongest prog albums, personally. I was obviously the most recent 4 are very much their prog rock era, and I do feel that this is possibly the strongest of them. I could have gone with a lot of different choices on this one. I'm a huge fan of like Cusp of Eternity, Moon Above, Sun Below, which nearly made it to the list as well. Incredible song. But I went with Voice of Treason mostly because of how creepy it is, the atmospherics of it, you know. It's got these weird, sinister strings, really minimalist keyboards, like these really gothic-style atmospherics from Ackerfeld's vocals as well. I feel it's kind of like this really haunting masterpiece that just shows off, like, no matter what your thoughts and feelings of the band's change in style are, they never missed a beat with their actual songwriting, because this is such a captivating song. It's so brilliant, really well composed, and just, I absolutely love it. I think it's just a fantastic piece of music. Love it.
Great album.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick sip of drink before I run out of saliva.
I love Pale Communion.
Oh, I got this. It's okay. I'm still here. It's fine.
I don't think you're alone in people thinking that was the best of the prog era epic era.
I love it.
Opeth albums. Pale Communion, just awesome.
Yeah. Every track on it slaps, and I had to include it somewhere, and I just kept flip flopping. I was like, one day I was like, it's moon above, sun below, and then I was like, nah. It's about Voice of Treason. Let's be real, you know. Okay, number 6. I don't have this on physical yet. It's awful of me, I know, but I'm working on it. I've only got so much money. Yeah, we're going with Watershed. We are going to go with Watershed, but what song are we going to go with from Watershed? Again, this was a hard one. There was a lot of choices here, and I was, again, flip-flapping like an absolute monster through this. I nearly went with Burden, because it's ungodly beautiful. I nearly went with Hessian Peel, because it's crazy and weird. You know, or maybe I would have gone with Hex Omega, I don't know. But in the end, I settled for the Lotus Eater. I love the Lotus Eater. I think it's brilliant. You know, that starting bit, you got, it's like just Ackerfeld mumbling, and then these huge rolling drums, massive vocal section kicks in, and he's like, and I'm like, oh, it's so good. I love it so much. I think it's an incredible mix of really clean, really dark stuff. And then you get this hint as to what's coming after Watershed, when that funky 70s keyboard section kicks in, you know, and it's all sort of like that with the bass flowing underneath it. Oh, it's so incredible. It's absolutely amazing. It just, every time I think of Watershed, I think of the Lotus Eater. And I think ultimately that's what really brought me to using that song as like my favorite from that particular album. And like, I'm not, controversially, I prefer Opeth when they're not using keyboards generally. That's just my personal tastes towards the band, but I think with how well they implemented it into this song, I think who could hate that? You know, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I think it's a brilliant piece of music, and definitely one of my favorites from the album.
That's what I love about Watershed. I love it. A little more keyboard heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, it's not normally my thing with the band, because I do think the more they lent on the keyboard, the more I don't want to say disinterested, because that just feels like it's really unfair of me to say that. It's just that I approached the band from a stage where I wasn't used to them using keyboards, so it did take me a long time to actually having it, you know. Oh,
for sure.
Okay, my top 5. Oh, how exciting.
Oh, right. I know.
I'm back to my props again as well. So, I'm going to hold this up, and you're going to have to try and guess whether you think it's Off Deliverance or Damnation. With me, what could it possibly be?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's Off of Deliverance.
Yeah, right. It's Off Deliverance. It's the title track off of Deliverance. Oh my God. I genuinely believe this is one of there's a reason why certain songs are considered live staple classics for the band. You know, they play Deliverance a lot, when it comes to their live gigs and their live shows and what have you. And I honestly think there's a fantastic reason for this. I feel this is like one of the most absurdly consistent blends of some of their heaviest, most horn-throwing riffing, dark atmospheres, these rolling thunder-like drums, they're absolutely incredible. I feel that this is them at their most death metal, but there's still time for the little moments of clarity, the little moments of the wind rushing through the trees sort of things, I think it's absolutely incredible. The only sort of, I don't know if I even call it a criticism, to be honest, like it's an observation, I suppose, maybe, is that the outro of the song, it's a little bit Lord of the Rings Return of the King, You keep thinking it's finished, but no, we're not done yet. We've got one more outro to go, and it just keeps on going.
Well, like how many characters were in that trilogy? Every one of them had to say goodbye to every other one before you end it.
But that's it. It's like a 13.5-minute long song, and it sometimes feels like you could maybe shave 5 minutes off that with how long the outro is. But instrumentally, I think it's some of the band's best work. Some of the guitars on there, unbelievable. The bass work is sublime. I love Deliverance. It's a little cliche to include it on a list because of how popular it is in a live setting, but there's a reason why it's that popular, because it's an incredible, incredible song. Oh my gosh, I'm getting excited now because I get to talk about my four favorites.
The tension is palpable, man.
I love it. Okay, now these 4 have kind of been jostling for the top spot. I think on any given Sunday, any of these could have been the number 1 pick for my particular list at the moment. But I've been mulling this one over for like 2 weeks now, and they've all moved around. But I'm sticking with this order. I'm not moving from it now. At number 4, we have another opening track. It's The More off of Still Life.
Oh yeah.
Oh baby. This was amongst the first Opeth tracks I heard. It was not the first one. I can't remember what the very first one was. But Still Life, and specifically The More, is a demonstration of how to craft the perfect intro. It shows off, just how good Opeth are at creating these powerful atmospherics with a kind of sublime build-up and an incredible payoff. I feel this is the best intro track of any of their albums, and they've got some seriously incredible, intro tracks. I mean, The Leper Affinity off of Blackwater Park, Ghost of Perdition off of Ghost Reveries, even things like Eternal Rains Will Come off of Pale Communion. And if you discount Persephone off of Sorceress, just include the title track, count that as the intro song because it's the first real song.
No, you're right. They know a little something about putting that really, really powerful, amazing track right up front. You don't have to wait
absolutely
for it.
They will get your attention straight off the bat. Like
and this was the first song I ever heard by Opeth. Was The More.
Hell of an intro.
Yeah.
I just think it's.
I didn't understand it. I didn't know what I was hearing. I didn't get it.
It's like what the hell is going on? This is so crazy.
I did not get
it. I love everything on Still Life. I nearly put Serenity Painted Death on here or White Cluster, because Serenity Painted Death has got like one of my favorite riffs ever by the band's entire discography. I think it's wonderful, absolutely incredible track. But The More is just demonstrates how do you open an album? How do you grab people's attention like that? It's right by like that, and it throws you around a bit. But then, obviously, just like with Opeth, it's calm, it's gentle, brings it back down again, and then it just throws you right back into the mire straight away. I love it. Incredible record. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Top 3. Here we go. Oh, I'm so excited about this. Okay, at number 3, it's Ghost Reveries. The album is Ghost Reveries. But where do we pick?
Which track? Oh.
Which track indeed? Because there's a lot to choose from on here, Every track on Ghost Reveries is good. Let's be honest with ourselves, The twin hit of Ghost of Perdition into the Baying of the Hounds is some of my favorite music of all time. I love it so much. And then the Grand Conjuration, closing off with Isolation Years, which is literally one of the most beautiful songs ever recorded. It brings me to tears every time I think about it. But my pick for the best song off this album and my third favorite Opeth song of all time is Harlequin Forest.
Wow.
It's absolutely outstanding. There is not enough good things I can possibly say out of this song. It's just unbelievable. It's straight into it, like into the it blows my mind. And like when he gets to that part where he goes, "Instruments of death peacefully," I'm like, yeah. It's so good. It's so good. And then when he does it, incorporates like the name of the song into the singing as well. Oh my god, it just blows my mind. It's such an unbelievable track from start to finish. I must have listened to this song hundreds of times by now at this point in my life. I could probably a cappella you from start to finish and not miss a single beat. It's unbelievable. It's an incredible song off one of their best albums of all time, but it's only beaten by 2 tracks. Now then, when I first came up with this list, I didn't have one song off a different album for each. There was a couple of albums who were doubly represented. The next album is one of the ones that was doubly represented, as was Ghost Reveries. But I've since rejigged the list a little. So the next album.
Hey, before you reveal, I have notes reviews list.
Oh, I want to hear these actually. I want to hear what there's.
Yeah, I'm going to do it after you're done.
Yeah.
But he had one album with 2 tracks.
Oh, I'm excited to hear what they.
Which album do you think he double dipped on?
Double dipped on. I'm going to say Watershed. No,
we were just talking about it. Ghost Reveries.
Oh, Ghost Reveries. Oh, yeah, amazing.
Double dipped on Ghost Reveries, though.
Yeah.
Ghost Edition and Harlequin Forest. I'm calling it now. No spoilers. No spoilers. We'll find out later if I'm right. Okay. So, possibly my first major shock of this list, my number 2 Opeth song of all time is the title track of Blackwater Park. At number 2.
That's number 2. Wow.
At number 2, there is one song I consider to be better than this, and that is no mean feat. Honest to God, Blackwater Park, the title track, is one of the best songs of all time. It simply is.
Yeah.
I struggle to put into words what it is about Blackwater Park that I find so special. And I think the reason why I ultimately brought this down to number 2 of my list is because it does benefit enormously from the build-up of everything that comes before it. Listening to the song in isolation, not Isolation Years, that's something else entirely different, is it's not as good. You know, if you just listen to it in isolation, you need that build-up. You need the appreciation of everything that followed before it to get the full effect of the song. That being said, what an effect it is, because my God, they have proven with this song, not only can they open albums unbelievably well with things like The More, with things like Ghost of Perdition, they can close them absolutely perfectly as well with Blackwater Park. I don't think I can do justice to how I feel about that particular song in words alone, other than if you've never listened to this song, if you've never listened to the album in general, I am so jealous of you because you have got a hell of a thing to look forward to. Absolutely monstrously brilliant. The mixing by Stephen Wilson is sublime. Everything just works and clicks and all comes together, and it's one of the most spectacular songs ever recorded. But, like I say, there is one song by Opeth which I value a little bit more. Now, like I say, one song off of 10 albums has been represented. You know, there are no duplicates across albums, so every album that's already featured, you're not going to see it again. So, with that being said, my favorite Opeth track of all time, and the one I've listened to more than any other in the history of the band, is off of Morning Rise. And it is a 20-minute epic, Black Rose Immortal.
Nice.
Oh, baby, I love Black Rose Immortal so much. Okay, let's be real here. Pink Floyd, they've got echoes. Yes, they've got Close to the Edge. And Dream Theater have got a change of seasons. Opeth has Black Rose Immortal. Now, I know Mikael Åkerfeldt has said in the past that he kind of like regrets making it a 20-minute epic because he only really did it because they wanted to just say, oh, look, we made a 20-minute epic. I don't care. Mickey Åkerfeldt, you keep your mouth shut. You made an absolute masterpiece. You be quiet. You stop being so...
That's right. You're dead wrong.
Exactly. He's wrong about his own work because
That's
I
right.
will say it now. Black Rose Immortal is a masterpiece. It is so ahead of its time. It is such a trip. It is such a journey. There are more ideas and more experimentation and more thoughtful compositions on this one song than most bands of the era had on entire albums. Absolutely ridiculous. It completely bait switches you, right? Because the first 2 minutes you think I'm listening to a scary black metal song, you know, and it's just like these really raw, unprocessed, unpolished vocals from Åkerfeldt. He sounds like a demon from the depths of almost like coming up from hell to just come and drag you back down to it. And then it just goes straight into like folk rock, you know, and it carries that sort of vein of I suppose the variety, I suppose, is the word I'm looking for, throughout the entire song. It's a 20-minute track. It never sits still. It's the last time we saw Johan de Falfala on bass and Anders Nordgren on drums. And what a swan song for them, because their playing is so immaculate, so brilliant on this track, you know? Now, I don't want to take away from Martin Mendez and Martin Lopez, obviously, who'd follow them up, but you know, obviously the lineup of Åkerfeldt, Lopez, Mendes, and Lindgren is like the most goated lineup of any band ever, as far as I'm just unbelievable. There's something about it. Almost felt like they knew that this album was their swan song. Like they knew that we're calling it quits after this. So it really does feel like they pushed out the boat so hard. Everything sounds incredible. Again, the 2023 remaster, the Abbey Road remaster, is incredible. It's a little bit raw and unpolished on the original, but again, that's part of the charm, I think, for me, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, honestly,
wow.
Incredible epic.
Wow.
Superb from start to finish. My number one Opeth song of all time, Black Rose Immortal, of their second album, Morning Rise.
Morning Rise. Morning Rise is a cool album, and
I love it so much.
I'm gonna get into some detail about those first 3 Opeth albums in a minute when it's my turn. But it's Nathan's. No, we're doing a notes review. I was talking to Nathan. We were trying to get a list from Nathan on Shuffle, but we didn't get it. But I do have notes. Top 10 right here. Their top 10 Opeth tracks. So I'm gonna lay it on you people right now. At number 10 from Blackwater Park, Bleak.
Ooh, Bleak. Good,
Okay.
good.
Interesting choice. I like that. From Morning Rise. And no, it's not the epic. We're going with The Night in the Silent Water.
Ooh, nice.
At
Good
number
choice.
8, a boring pick, but a correct pick. It's Deliverance. At number 7, Voice of Treason off of Pale Communion. You can't do wrong with Pale Communion. Oh, wait a second. I lied. He has 2 tracks from Pale Communion. And 2 tracks from Ghost Reveries. I lied. I just noticed that now. Okay. At number 6, Closure off of Damnation. There you go. If you need one off of Damnation, that's a good pick. At number 5, Face of Melinda off of Still Life.
Ooh, yeah.
Pick. At number 4, Ghost of Perdition. Oh, don't say that the set list doesn't give you a clue, right? Because a lot of times if I'm new to a band and I really don't know what tracks to really zero in on, I'll go to setlist.com and figure it out. If the band loves these songs, maybe I will too. Ghost of Perdition is kind of a concert favorite. At number 3, the second track from Pale Communion, Moon Above, Sun Below. Great, great track. At number 2, this is not a surprise, The Grand Conjuration.
Oh,
yeah.
And at number 1, from Watershed. Oh, this is a good pick. Burden.
Oh,
yeah.
Breaks my heart. Beautiful song.
Excellent top 10. I must say, I think we might have 1 or 2 in common, actually. So that'll be interesting. Hey, who wants to go next? Who's up next? Should we?
I could go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, Travis.
So,
Travis, before you start, I want to say I love your shirt, man. Steve Vai.
Thank you. He was awesome in concert. I saw him on the Generation Axe tour in Kitchener a few years back. It was great. Opeth. Well, geez.
We got Jim Newstead in the house, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I love Jim Newstead. He's just popping in. Okay. Otherwise, I'd send him a link.
But yeah, Opeth for me, they kind of represent a bit of a continuation of what bands like Dream Theater meant for me growing up, where, when you're young and you're discovering who you are and your tastes and all that, of course you pick up a lot from your parents. And while Opeth wasn't the first band of this for me, I think they were really the one that solidified this idea that, like, Dream Theater were the first band I discovered that it didn't belong to my parents.
Yeah.
That they were my band.
Right.
And
oh, that's funny. That was Chicago for me.
Yeah.
That was
going back.
Not my parents. It's not jazz. It's not the Beatles. That's my band.
And then it was actually through Aryon's The Human Equation that I discovered Opeth and Devin Townsend and a whole bunch of other artists. And when I heard Mikkel Ackerfeldt's vocals on those tracks, I knew that there was something special. So, of course, I think this was around the time Ghost Reveries had just come out, and that was my first album of theirs. And, up to that point, I mean, I'd always had a thing for metal, but I wasn't really into, like, the Cookie Monster growling vocals as much. I was more old school thrash metal and new wave of British heavy metal kind of guy.
Yeah.
So Opeth were really like the first band that drew my attention with their harsh vocals and really made me appreciate that style of singing. And then there's just the incredible guitar work of Mikkel Ackerfeldt and basically every other guitar player he's had in the band. I think it was Peter Lundgren for a while, and now it's Frederick Ackerson, and I absolutely love his
Frederick Ackerson is sick.
He is such a
he just left the band
monster of a guitar player. Oh, and his hairdo is just And you know what? Opeth are also just one of the most underrated comedy sensations out there. I mean,
yes.
Any live video and just any stage banter you see is just going to be the funniest thing you've ever heard.
That's true.
Somehow. Yeah. All right, so getting into my top 10. These are not in order of my actual top 10. This is kind of what I did with the ELO one, where I did it in chronological order by the discography. And I hadn't initially planned on this being a one song per album deal, but it just kind of ended up turning out that way.
They're the perfect band to do it, right? They've got 13 albums. All of them are good, right? They're all of them are different, so you kind of want to get a little taste of every era. This is the perfect band for the one per album rule. It is.
Exactly. Now, I don't have the same kind of props that Ian does, but I thought I'd help out a little here. So I'm going to play a little bit of each song before I describe it. So,
yeah.
I'm going to start by saying I didn't include anything off the first few records, Orchid, Morning Rise, My Arms, Your Hearse. It's not that I don't like those albums. I never really got into them the same way as everything afterwards. So even though I really like, Black Rose Immortal, Night in the Silent Water, more, To Bid You Farewell, great tracks. I preferred Opeth more when they really started honing in on those progressive elements, the kind of things that you would have heard in bands like Camel and King Crimson and all that. And I think when we get to Still Life, we get the first big taste of that with this track. That's right. That's Face of Melinda. And that's one of the rare early tracks of theirs to not feature any harsh vocals whatsoever. Really beautiful song. That intro guitar that I just played, absolutely one of the coolest guitar intros I've ever heard, and just so smooth. It's such a wonderful track, and the way it builds up into this crescendo, so that at the ending it's this big, crushing, heavy riff. It tugs at my heartstrings every time. Mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful track. And I think it's a good transition from that sort of early Scandinavian melodic death metal sound they were going for into what would eventually become the more progressive version, the Steven Wilsonified version, if you will, of Opeth that we would hear later. So, Face of Melinda, that's the first in my 10. So, next we get to their album Blackwater Park, and this is my pick for it. Ooh. That's right, Bleak. And it's really interesting to hear Steven Wilson guest vocal so prominently in an Opeth song. And it's funny because in a way, Bleak introduced me to Porcupine Tree. And that's one reason why this song is so important to me is it gave me that kick to maybe I should check out Steven Wilson. But it's also just another really masterfully written, perfectly executed piece of music that it doesn't let up in intensity or in just the sheer scope of it for its whole run. There's so much going on in it, but it all just melds together so well. And that's something that Opeth is really, really good at, is taking these really disparate elements and putting them together in a way that they make sense, which there's a lot of progressive rock bands that just don't have the capability of doing that. They'll jam random parts together and it sounds like random parts jammed together, but Opeth, for whatever reason, they're able to take that and make it into a cohesive, coherent song that you want to see played live. And Bleak, for me, from that like tongue twister of a sort of Arabian style riff up to its more atmospheric B minor Steven Wilson led bridge, it's a perfect sort of song cycle. So that brings us to the next album of theirs, which is Deliverance, and no surprise here. The title track.
Yes.
Nice.
It really is like
Beautiful.
2 songs in one. You have them at their absolute heaviest, their absolute most death metal, their brutalist, but then you have those softer sections that give you the breathing space. And I think this is a great way to get into death metal. Like anything that this band has done with heavy vocals and clean vocals next to each other is a perfect introduction to death metal, because it gives you that space to, collect yourself after the absolutely devilish, yes, the devil's interval, the tritone.
There we go.
Even on an acoustic guitar, it sounds absolutely evil. And it is one of the evilest sounding riffs in Opeth's discography. Such a fun song to play, especially that ending. I mean, I do feel like it also kind of goes on a little long, but it's such a payoff. But then for the next album, they go in completely the opposite direction with the much softer, more 70s progressive sound. And the track that I've picked for Damnation is It's Hope Leaves. And I don't want to get too personal on this chat, but I've been through some pretty tough times this year. And songs like that, I mean, they hit a lot harder. And, it's a sad song. It's a very, very sad song. It really, really tugs at your heartstrings. I know I use that phrase a lot with this, but it is such a beautiful, gorgeous piece of music. And I feel like it kind of goes a little underrepresented in Opeth's discography. You don't really see them push that one too much.
And it was not on my short list, so that's a good call.
But it is a really beautiful, beautiful song, and especially like when you get that little solo, it's just, there's not really much of a solo, but it's just so well done and beautifully played. So the next album is, of course, the one that I would say probably seems to be their most popular, and that's Ghost Reveries. And I'm not going to play the intro for this song. I'm going to play the outro because I don't have time to tune this guitar to the weird tuning that the band used throughout this record, but you'll probably recognize it all the same anyway.
Oh, yes.
Harlequin Forest, once again, just like Ian. There's a lot of great tracks I could have picked from this record.
Oh, yeah.
Hours of Wealth almost made it onto it. Another just really, really beautiful piece. But I still wanted to represent some of their heavier moments, and Harlequin Forest really is just a huge, powerful epic. And I find that outro riff I just played has a lot of similarity to Deliverance as well. Like it's that single note chugging kind of with that little flourish at the end. It really sets the whole piece off. It's absolutely mesmerizing, and just there's so many great riffs, so many great vocal melodies, so many great parts to that song. It's the track that really galvanized my love of Opeth. So for the next song, again, I'm not playing the intro because there's not really much to it, but for Watershed, this was the album that I think is my personal favorite from the band. I could probably put any track from this record on this list, and you know, that one was for you, Zeb. But I could put any track from Watershed on this list, and the one that I'm going with has some of the most beautiful lead work I've ever heard in an Opeth song. Burden. Probably one of their most beautiful songs. Just a really, really excellent chord progression, some fantastic vocal melodies, especially as you get to the end, that big harmony bit. Oh, it gives me goosebumps every time. And here's a little fun fact about Burden. That ending bit where he's playing the little acoustic riff and it pitches down. That's not a digital effect. That's Michael playing the guitar part while Frederick is slowly tuning the strings as he's
cool.
playing.
I didn't know that.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what makes it sound so gosh darn evil. It sounds so just what? But it's it's such a good song. So unlike Ian, I am a little bit more a fan of the newer Opeth style, and I think that there's some moments in this album, Heritage, that, I mean, if I had never heard Opeth before this, I would have had completely different assumptions about what their past was. I would never have guessed that this was a death metal band, especially, again, this is not the intro for the song, but this is not even a guitar part, it's a keyboard part. And it's just one of the most weird, wacky King Crimson kind of things I've ever heard in my life. That's right, that's Nepenthe, which I've often heard as being one of the worst Opeth songs from people who are Opeth fans, and I mean, Heritage is kind of the
Heritage in general suffers that fate, right? A lot of fans, automatically put it at the bottom.
Yeah, Heritage is kind of the black sheep of Opeth's discography, but I just love Nepenthe because it's so wild and out there. I can't believe this is the same band that wrote Harlequin Forest and Blackwater Park, and here they are doing this like Mahavishnu Orchestra meets King Crimson jazz fusion prog weirdness. And there are some parts in that song that are just cool on their own, like taken in isolation. This other guitar part that comes up in the end, it's a really nice guitar part. And yeah, I mean, people tend to skip over this record just because it's their first attempt to be a sort of progressive rock without death metal that isn't Damnation. And there is some weirdness, like Nepenthe, and songs like I Feel the Dark, Slither, Lines in My Hand are really weird, but those are some of my favorite Opeth songs as well. And I love it. I love the weirdness.
Yeah.
I wish for more weirdness from Opeth. If you're gonna cut out the death metal, then at least give me something just completely left of center.
That's a valid point, actually.
Now, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, for Pale Communion, the track that I'm going for, I would never really think of Opeth as being a band that writes songs that I would consider catchy, but it's a simple riff. I mean, Cusp of Eternity.
Yeah.
Nice
one.
It's a really, really catchy song, which again, that's not something I generally associate with Opeth. I don't think of them as a band that writes hits or simple songs with simple melodies, but Cusp of Eternity, I think part of the reason that song just sticks in my head so much is there's really not much complex about it. There's nothing to it. It's a really simple guitar riff, a really simple vocal melody, especially that ah in the chorus. Beautiful. It's the Opeth song you could show your mother.
Yeah.
Spot on.
So that brings us to Sorceress, and I'm a big fan of acoustic guitars and Jethro Tull and all that. And for the song that I'm picking for this, we have to go with it does kind of sound Jethro Tully.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
Will o' the Wisp, which also has one of my favorite little outro licks. Again, I've picked a lot of like Opeth ballads, and this is one of my favorites just because it really does recall, for one, previous tracks I've mentioned like Burden and Harvest from Blackwater Park. It kind of has that vibe, but again, also it's just their most flagrantly Ian Anderson sounding piece, and I love that sort of.
He's putting his guitar down.
Because I don't actually know any of the guitar parts for the next song.
Okay.
It's their most recent album. I do actually have the sheet music book, but in Cauda Venenum, the Garroter.
Good.
Marauder Garroter. And well, like I was saying with Nepenthe, this is a track that's just so wild and weird compared to everything else on the record. It's got that sort of evil, dark jazz kind of tone. I love the nylon string guitar opening. It's it's really out of this world. And like, I mean, those chords, I mean, maybe I think it's something like something like that. It's got those like super augmented triads all throughout it. It's such an out there piece of music compared to everything else. The other track I was considering from that record was Charlatan, which also has no guitar in it because that's their big Spinal Tap moment where everybody's playing bass. I love it. I would say In Cauda Venenum is probably my favorite album from this new Opeth generation, this new sound of theirs, just because it does kind of hark back to some of their older material while still providing us such weird tracks like the Garter. I don't know how to pronounce it. Don't quiz me. But there's a reason why this track is so great. And it's the one I skip to every time I put on In Cauda Venenum.
Yeah, for me, the album is super duper important because I thought Sorceress was a slight letdown. I really, really like it a lot. But after Pale Communion, I wanted just a little bit more, and my heart was breaking a little bit, But they righted the ship with that last album, so it's going to be super exciting to see what album number 14 is going to look like. We got some lineup changes in Opeth.
That's right.
Nothing new with Michael Ackerfeld and getting new members in his band.
Ironically, Sorceress is the only album of theirs I own on vinyl.
Yeah. I have it and Pale Communion. Those are the two I got. So we'll fix that. We'll fix that very soon. But fantastic job, Travis. Wow, I didn't know you were going to be doing that. You laid a fast one on us, and it was awesome.
I love the guitar, man. I love the guitar. There's one riff I want to hear you play before we go out of here today.
Let's see if I know it.
Just the main riff at the beginning of Blackwater Park when he goes,
oh gosh.
You can go in the other room and figure it out if you want.
No, it's okay.
You can bring it back when you're ready. But that leads us to we're going to have a 2-for-1 here. Cody and Tara together. And, maybe Travis will play along in the background while you give us your top.
There we go. Yeah, I know.
You're gonna throw some horns, man.
Incorrect. That was not done.
Something like that.
Nice.
Where in Ontario? Where in Ontario are you? Are you up north?
I'm up north in Sudbury.
Okay,
or Sudbury, as out of towners call it.
I was gonna say, we got a jam, man, but Sudbury it's just quite the jaunt.
It is.
Ontario's big.
Thank you for playing that. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Your turn.
Yeah. Hey, what are you gonna play for us now?
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
No, I can't. I can't. I just have here.
That's a very nice bass.
Thank you. Airline. Okay,
who's going on me? Okay, all right. I'll go first then. So when I was doing up this list, I noticed that I favor 2 albums a lot. So I got into Opeth quite young when I was going through my metal phase, and I heard like Orchid and Still Life and all. I was like, oh yeah, like really heavy, nice stuff. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of mellowed out a bit, kind of. And I don't know about that. I seem to favor the later stuff a little bit more. So I'll just get into it and stop talking. So first, I've chosen Harvest from Blackwater Park. Absolutely fantastic tune. Then I went for Burden from Watershed, which has always been a go-to for me. it was one of the first tunes I heard by them, and I was just pulled in to the band. And then I chose Chrysalis from Sorceress. Nice little gem of a tune on that album that I don't hear talked about often.
Except for right now.
Yeah. Then I went for Hours of Wealth from Ghost Reveries because it's just such a beautiful song. One of my favorite, like, chill, when you're not feeling great, throw this on and just kind of let Michael Ackerfeld just take you to that beautiful place with his voice.
Hey, Travis called Ghost Reveries Opeth's most popular album. I don't know if that's true or not, but the more I think about it, the more I think he's probably right.
Maybe. Well, it looks like it today. Like, I wasn't expecting so many people to pick songs from that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pleasantly surprised. Then I went for, of course, Blackwater Park. Absolutely incredible tune.
Blackwater Park. Oh, yeah.
Then I went for The Devil's Orchard from Harvest. I think that's a fantastic tune. I seem to put it on quite often, so I said, you know what, I'll choose it today, fake it. And then I chose The Leper Affinity because, talk about starting an album off with a bang. And just the way he can go between the really kind of growly lyrics into his lovely, beautiful voice is impressive.
I'm your prop guy.
Thank you.
You're going too fast for me.
Then I went for Universal Truth from, I can't pronounce the name of the new album. I think it's my accent kind of.
Incada Venenum.
No, I'm not even going to try. When I saw the music video for that, I was sucked in because it was just major, like, Steven Wilson vibes. And listened to the music, thought it went with the video so well, saw the message behind the song, and I was just like, this is like such a work of art. Crazy good stuff, like. And then my top two are from Damnation, which is my favorite Opeth album. So I chose Window Pane and In My Time of Need. Driven with Mellotron. Absolutely gorgeous tunes. Great album. It was really hard to do this list because they're one of those bands that just kind of everything they tried to do, they did so well.
Yeah,
that it was
true.
Just like nothing is really bad.
No, that's
it was so difficult to try and pick a top 10. Like, so thanks for that, Scott.
We like to see our guests squirm.
I guess it's my turn now.
Yes, it is.
So there's a couple of songs that this is probably a healthy mix between new Peth and old Peth. But this number 10 is a song that no one has mentioned yet. It is Goblet from Pale Communion.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Just a cool little 5-minute instrumental track. Just really sweet. I really like it a lot.
Named for the band of the same name from the 70s.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Number 9, The Garroter from Incada Venenum. Yeah, this was one of the... So I came into Opeth. I became aware of them around Sorceress, and this is kind of the album that sort of sealed the deal in a sense. I heard The Garroter, and it was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. It's almost like a lounge jazz song in a sense, like if they even have one of those. Going back to this record, this is one of my favorite Opeth records. This is the last that this will feature on this list. Eternal Rains Will Come.
Yeah.
I heard this years ago on Deep Nuggets Radio, and I was like, and it said it was Opeth. I was like, oh yeah, this is just brilliant. Just it's fantastic. This is totally him and the band leaning into that sort of Canterbury side of their influence, right? Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And this whole record's really good. This is the deluxe edition with the DVD in it too. Next up, we're going back to the 90s with a little tune called Face of Melinda.
Yeah. That's the one.
And as you guys mentioned, this is the only song on this record that is not full-on death metal. I have played it on my radio show on Deep Nuggets before, and I will be playing it on Prog Radio very soon. This record is fantastic, and it's a great song. And I think the first I ever heard that was actually on the live album, the Live at the Roundhouse record. And the version of that on there is fantastic. And we'll talk more about that album in a minute. Number 6 is Harvest from Blackwater Park.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they started to go into this thing where they would have these extreme death metal albums, but they'd have one song with no growls in them. And this is that track on this record, and it's one of those that you could show your mother. Like it's one of
your
those.
grandmother.
Yeah, but it's such a good song, and this is not the last time that this record will be mentioned in my list. Number 3, we got Window Pane from Damnation. Fantastic.
So good.
That was almost my Damnation pick.
I love the subtleties of Martin Lopez's drumming on this. And I love the groove and the feel of it, and there's Mellotron in there too, and it's really as she would say, it's absolutely class. So my number 2 pick, we're going back to the Ghost Reveries record. Oh, I think I skipped one. I think you might have. Yeah, okay, I did skip some.
Thought so.
Okay, so there's a twofer from this record. I'm doing 2 songs from this album, and one of them is a cover. It's their cover of Deep Purple's Soldier of Fortune. I return to that song. I listen to their version of it all the time, and the Deep Purple version, but I think this version of it is just so cool, and it is so true to the Deep Purple song, but they make it sound like an Opeth song. But it's just absolutely beautiful. And my other pick from this record is The Grand Conjuration. The drumming is fantastic, and the lyrics on this album are very dark. But sometimes you need some of that darkness to get through to the light. I'm right into it. And this is the cool deluxe edition with the DVD, so you got the surround sound mix and all that, which we should listen to. And the Grand Conjuration, all 10 minutes, absolutely blissful. What else did I miss? Oh, yeah. One from this record. And honestly, my favorite version of this song is actually on the Live at the Roundhouse record. No, not the Roundhouse, at the Red Rocks. Sorry, it's the R. Red Rocks Amphitheater that they did in 2016 when this came out on the tour for this. It's the title track, Sorceress. I love the riffing in it, and I love the
it's such a good riff. It's like one of the coolest riffs they've ever done.
It's fantastic. It is so good. And so that brings us to number 1. Sorry for my little miscount there. My number 1 is the best driving song in the middle of the night of all time. It's Blackwater Park.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love taking back roads, especially if I'm doing my delivery job at night when I'm, going to the people's houses and stuff. And it's super late, like 10, 11 o'clock at night. I love throwing that on and just driving through these really woody areas and listening to that at full volume in my car. It's terrifying in the best way. And it's about to go down when they come into that, when the band builds up for the first 2 minutes and they stop, and then the acoustic riff comes in. Then he comes in.
I love it. It's so good. It's like,
I know. And then they get really heavy again. Then it goes into like this Steve Howe element for a couple of minutes in the middle of the song. Then they bring back the heavy drums and heavy electric guitars, and Michael Ackerfeld comes back in with the vocals, and he's like, sounds like Cookie Monsters. It sounds like Cookie Monsters hanging out in the basement, and he needs some treats, Fantastic. Opeth, Blackwater Park, number 1 song for me. I'm going to see them in October, and it's going to be amazing.
Fantastic. What a list. Amazing. Yeah, Blackwater Park, man. Yeah. I'm not a big Cookie Monster vocal guy, but that's the album that got me thinking maybe there was maybe a little more exploring I needed to do with that aspect of the band. Absolutely. Because it's the music is just so incredible. Even if you absolutely despise the Cookie Monsters, which I most certainly did, that music is just so good you cannot ignore it, and you almost like fight through it, and you start getting used to it, and the next thing you know, you kind of miss it if it's not there.
That was kind of my start with Opeth. That was kind of my start, where I kind of came in with the clean vocals and got into them a little bit, but then over time I've been digesting all their records, older ones and newer ones, and just fallen in love with the band as a whole. So yeah.
So awesome. Such an amazing band.
They're one of my top favorites.
Vocals,
what's going on, Wayne? You're probably the person on the panel that has the least amount of experience with this band, and you've been doing a deep dive the last couple of weeks. So this is going to be very interesting to hear your take, your perspective on it. Because, even though I'm not a big fan of the Cookie Monster vocals and stuff, I mean, I've been knowing about this band since 1999 when I first heard Still Life. So, I mean, it took me a long, long time to learn to like, those kind of vocals. So when they turned a leaf, boy, I was the happiest man in the world. But what's your take on Opeth, Wayne?
Like you said, I came into them probably in the last couple of years. First song I ever heard from them is on the list here. And they're a band that the more and more I listen to them, the more I understand it. Like, there's tons of, let's face it, crappy Cookie Monster vocalists out there. But Opeth is one of those ones where you listen to and you're like, wait a minute, these guys are actually the real deal. So for my top 10, I pretty much just threw Spotify on random, and it just kept giving me random songs, and I just started marking down which one I really, really liked and kept going back to, and it's like, well, I have to listen to that again. So for this one, I forgot to write down the names, the albums they're on, but I'm sure everyone here knows them. First one, I believe it's from Watershed, Porcelain Heart.
Yep.
Love that song. Such a great song. The next one, just gonna mark these off so I remember not to mention them again. A Fair Judgment, number 9. Number 8, Eternal Rains Will Fall.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, another fantastic opening track for the band.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That might be on my list, Ian. Very likely.
From their latest Lovelorn Crime.
Ooh.
Good choice.
Love the out solo on that one.
Say it in Swedish.
Number 5, Ghost of Perdition.
Oh yeah.
Ghost Reveries.
Hell yeah. Incredible.
Number 4, I combine this. I know most people just mention it as one song, but I love combining this because I love the song that comes before it. Patterns in the Ivy, Blackwater Park.
Ooh.
Kind of feels...
The Patterns in the Ivy song is incredible as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of feels like with that little bit of fade out they did with it, almost feels as if he just dropped the guitar, went to grab another one, pick it up, and start playing. Just sounds fantastic.
That whole album just has such a great flow to it. Even though it's not, it's not one continuous track. In my mind, it almost plays that way, right?
Yeah. Very, very much the Steven Wilson influence on the band. Number 3 for me, Tara mentioned it, The Devil's Orchard.
Scott hasn't listened to an Opeth song.
Wow.
We
Well,
need
it does shock me.
consensus. What's the before you continue your list, Wayne? And we're all on pins and needles to hear what's at the top. Pick one song for Mr. Davis to listen to from Opeth to make him a fan. What's that going to be?
Harlequin Forest.
Eternal Rains Will Come.
Ghost of Perdition.
All right, you got 3 songs to listen to, Scott.
Or their cover of Soldier of Fortune.
Yeah, that's a good call too. Yeah, any of those will work for somebody's first exposure, I think. Don't go the route I went, which was yeah, don't go with the Moors first. I was not prepared.
I heartily disagree. For somebody like me, that's a great place to start.
I was not prepared. Yeah, Scott's older, man. He's kind of more my age, so I don't know. Anyway, maybe Wayne has some surprises at the top end of his list.
Yeah, I just realized I just miscounted here. I have 3 left. So Devil's Orchard would be number 4. Number 3 for me, The More.
Oh, that's a good one.
From Still Life.
Great.
I had no idea what to expect listening to that. And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, this is not what I was expecting listening. Thinking Opeth was going to be.
Yeah.
And the blending of like this very melodic acoustic guitar parts and stuff, and then moving into like these growls, but it's so subtle when he comes in with it that it does give it a nice blend. I really love that. Number 2 for me is the first Opeth song I ever heard from the album Damnation, Death Whispered a Lullaby.
Yeah,
good one.
That's a good one.
And my number 1.
Didn't Steven Wilson write those lyrics?
Possibly.
Yeah, it might have.
I can find out in 10 seconds.
He did.
He did?
Yep.
There you go.
And some of the music, at least according to the official sheet music that I've got in front of me.
Okay. That I did not know. Learn something new every time we do a stream here.
Yeah. Number 1 for me, Reverie, Harlequin Forest.
Yes! Hell yes!
Oh, well,
Yes.
Number 1.
Harlequin Forest. Getting some love here today.
Just a fantastic song. Love how it starts off. Just him singing. And it's like just out of this world. Like, I'm like, oh, wow. It's like right into it. And then it breaks down. You kind of get the music behind it. And it's just fantastic. That whole album, start to finish. That and Damnation, just beautiful, gorgeous, dark. But yeah, it's my favorite Opeth song. So,
and that's why I really enjoy hearing like these origin stories, like where did your fandom begin, or where are you in your appreciation of a band? Because here we've got, complete opposite ends of the spectrum, where you got Wayne just, listening to various songs on Spotify, whereas, you've got other members of the panel that were buying the records as they came out and dissecting them and figuring them all out. Me, I came in with Still Life. Like I said, that was the first Opeth album I'd ever heard, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I didn't like it. I liked exactly one song off of it, and I think you probably can guess what song that was.
Yeah.
And then, Steven Wilson gets involved, and now I'm like, okay, maybe I need to take another look at this band. Maybe I was a bit hasty, right? Blackwater Park comes around, and it's still, I still don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I don't understand. And then Damnation, Deliverance come out, that 1-2 punch. And guess which one of those 2 albums I liked? But something happened around the time of Heritage. I started wondering, maybe I really need to go back. So I went back to Blackwater Park, and I forced myself to listen to that thing over and over and over to get used to the death growls, the Cookie Monster vocals. And I'll realize that, from 2011 on, I really don't have a problem with any part of Opeth's catalog, but I will say that I don't know the first 3 albums good enough. I probably only listened to Orchid, Morning Rise, and My Arms Your Hers maybe like 5 or 6 times each. That's not enough. That's not good enough. So they're not on my list. That's why I haven't done an Opeth ranking yet. I want to know these albums inside and out, every note, every single thing before I rank them. I'm almost there, but not quite with Opeth. So my top 10 is from Still Life On. I'm not doing it chronologically. This is kind of sort of the order I like them. At number 10, boy, this was tough because I really like Burden. But the one per album is rule is in effect. So I'm going with Heir Apparent. Really like it off of Watershed. A really cool album that, again, took me a while to really appreciate, but I love keyboards. So, hearing just a little more keyboard in the mix. What was this? Per Weiberg's first album with the band. Martin Axelrod's first album with the band. Frederick Ackerson, first album with the band. Are they not even in the band anymore? That's just crazy.
Axelrod's left, I think.
That's crazy. That's just wrong. He's so good, man. Number 9. Again, an album that was a little bit of a disappointment for me. I like it. I don't love it, but man, the title track just is amazing. It's Sorceress. I love that song so much, man. So good. Their 12th album from 2016. At number 8, it's been mentioned before. Off of Ghost Reveries, boy, oh boy, which one am I going to pick off of this one? I am going with the Grand Conjuration. This song is so much fun. So good. It gives you a whole lot of different pieces of the puzzle that is Opeth all in one song. I dig it. Maybe part of the reason this might be their most popular is this was their first album for Roadrunner.
It was. Yeah.
I just remembered that. Yeah, that might have done a little something for units sold. Absolutely. Number 7. We've mentioned it before. I think everybody had this on their list because it has to be on the list. It's the title track off their 6th album, Deliverance. Absolutely, 2002. It's a perfect song. I absolutely adore it. And does it get any better than the Two Martins? What
really doesn't
section, right? What a rhythm section. I don't want to diss what's going on in Opeth world now or anything, but that I think Ian said that might have been like the definitive lineup, not just for Opeth, but for any band ever. It's worth thinking about, right? At number 6, off Damnation, Window Pane. I love it. Talk about a band that knows how to do a lead-off track, right? That was the first song, right? Unbelievable. So good. At number 5, I mentioned it before. The first song I actually liked by the band. Yes, the only song off Still Life that doesn't have the Cookie Monster vocals, but that's okay. It's still a great song. Is Face of Melinda. I love this track. I really, really do. It was really the song that made me realize I need to spend more time with these guys. I'm going to pay attention to this band, and that always stuck with me. At number 4, From Heritage is The Devil's Orchard. I love this track. So much fun. Heritage is the red-haired stepchild of the entire Opeth discography. And I understand why, but I love it personally. I think it's amazing. I think it's just so weird, off the wall. I get why, death metal fans wouldn't like it, but whatever. At number 3, off their latest album, it's All Tig Tarslut. All Things Will Pass. The band really does understand how to end an album. I mean, what a great closing track. I love it. This album is done both in English and in Swedish. Wow, big shocker. I prefer the Swedish version. It's amazing. It's fantastic. At number 2, this was tough because I'm going with the Blackwater Park track off of this, but we talked about how good this band is with their lead-off tracks and their closing tracks. Oh, what do I do here, man? What do I do here? The Leper Infinity is like, literally probably my 3rd favorite Opeth song, but it's disqualified because I'm going with the title track. I'm with Ian here.
Leper Infinity is a good shout, though.
It is.
Yeah, just amazing. Just incredible. But there can only be one number 1. And if you know the Prog Corner and you know the kind of music I like, you can probably guess it's off of Pale Communion, which I don't have a lot of Opeth vinyl. I only have Sorceress in this, but man, just shout out the artwork here. Just so beautiful. the inner sleeves, everything is done with absolute care. Just a beautiful, beautiful package. What a great, great album. And as a result, my number one comes right off it, and it is, of course, Eternal Rains Will Come.
Yep.
Oh, man, I love that song. It's so good. Such a great, great album. What a cool band. It was a band, like I said, that really took me a little while to completely understand and appreciate. And to be honest, I'm not 100% there yet. The first album I'm still struggling a tad bit with. Not going to lie, but albums number 2 and 3 I'm really, really enjoying. So I'm almost there.
Black Rose Immortal. Trust me on this one. Black Rose Immortal. Shut off everything else and spend 20 minutes with that.
Yeah. Well, Morning Rise is sounding pretty good. It's Orchid that's kind of...
Orchid's a bit rough. It's a bit rough and it's a bit ready, but
I struggle.
I love it. But
I have to get back
to the
hardest Morning Rise myself.
Morning Rise is my favorite of the Candlelight era. It was a real close toss-up for me between my arms.
Hey, you got that vinyl handy again?
Yes, I certainly do.
I want to see it again.
I don't have Orchid on vinyl yet, but my arms were hers.
Look at that.
And
yeah,
from the 2023 remaster.
Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I want it all. Anyway, Wayne, what's going on your channel? Your channels, plural. What are you doing? Are you focusing on one channel? Are you working both? I'm confused. The people are confused.
Yeah, I'm working on both at the moment. Just accidentally made the mistake of forgetting to switch accounts when putting up a couple reactions. So a couple of them ended up on Wayne the Musical Hermit channel. But yeah, we'll have one coming out for reaction to Giant Steps by John Coltrane.
Oh, wow.
Cool. Nice.
Gonna react to that. And what did I put up last night? The Last Dinner Party Sinner.
What was that, like a reaction to the album or a live track?
Just a live song.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
good album, good band.
Yeah, just kind of going all over the place, kind of branching out in the reaction field, and still working on my what is it? Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robot album review.
You like that one?
Love me some Flaming Lips. Ian, what is going on your channel? It's kind of a hotbed of all things cool and hip and prog metal. If you're a prog metal fan, I mean, isn't it sad that all the bands know you, but the fans don't? You know what I mean?
Feels like it. It's all good. It's all good. We are getting there. I just did my 200th video recently, which is very exciting. Very, very pleased to got that
Good for you.
It's, related to next week's... woo! So pleased about that, honestly. I never thought I'd make it to like 10, but here we are.
Right. Here we are.
Quite pleased with that. Related very much to what you've got coming next yourself, Scott. The best bands of the 21st century.
Oh, yeah. Woo, man, next Sunday is going to be a good one. Ian will be joining us. I'm not sure of the exact cast of characters we have, but the one thing that is absolute is Ian's going to be with us. Nathan on Shuffle is going to be with us. And I think we might get Michael from Notes Reviews with us. It's going to be crazy. Travis, are you with us on that one? No, you're not, right? No, Travis is on standby. I got Travis on standby. We're like the airlines here, man.
It's going to sabotage somebody. If somebody's performs a terrible accident, I'm going to fall down the stairs in 6 days' time.
That's right. Hey, don't be putting that bad juju out there. So, Travis, what's going on with your blog? Are you back on YouTube yet? Give us the update.
I haven't decided on YouTube yet, but I am going to be doing a piece, and actually, I've got a prop for it right here. Yeah. Pretty soon, talking about my all-time favorite physical music format, one that people don't usually consider, sheet music.
Oh yeah,
and this is, check this out.
Yeah,
hold on, keep that up. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
List of tracks on the back.
Oh, nice.
Dynamite.
And with this book, you too can become like me and know every.
Yes, like Peter Lindgren. Yeah. No problem.
I should also mention I am a musician myself, as deftly exemplified by this video, and I have a instrumental rock progressive project called Borealia. You can find my music on Bandcamp, Apple Music, Spotify. It's all pretty much home recorded demos, but I put a lot of love and care into the music that I write. So hopefully someone else out there enjoys it as much as I do.
I've been on the Bandcamp. It's pretty good stuff, man. So check it out, Borealia. Cody, what are you two lovebirds doing, and what can we look forward to on both of your channels here next week?
Well, we're loving each other. That's what we've been up to. No, we've got some cool stuff coming up on my channel on Spinnin' Prog. So subscribe to Brockway's Vinyl Bites and to Spinnin' Prog, because we've got a whole slew of ideas just blowing out our heads, and we're tight-lipped. But the next week will be pretty good for content, I think. Awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, and we've been doing all our radio shows together. If you want to check them out on Prog Radio, and these Deep Nuggets shows on Thursdays, I've been popping into. So yeah,
we've been setting up all our radio shows together, typically as like a sort of couples thing. That we've kind of branded ourselves as the prog rock couple.
Absolutely. You lean into it, man. And pretty soon I'll be doing a top prog rock power couples episode where we'll be talking about David Gilmour and Polly, and Robert Fripp and Toya, and Cody and Tara. Right in that whole mix. Anyway, guys, next week will be the top 10 modern prog rock bands, 21st century prog rock bands that have put their first album out earlier than 2000. So that's all the modern stuff. So if they put an album out in 1999, they don't count. So that's next week, August 4th. The week after that, August 11th, we're going to be doing the top 10 songs by none other than Uriah Heep. Oh, yeah. You should like this one a lot, Wayne. That should be right up your alley. So that's going to be a good one. Anyway, next week on the show, here in the Prog Corner, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff related to Scandinavian prog. Big shocker there. I'm going to be interviewing Two Smork, interviewing Andres Prestmo. I've got an interview with Ritual coming up. I got working on all kinds of stuff. It's just ridiculous. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. So I really lean on you guys on the Sunday show to keep me on the straight and narrow. So we got a great lineup, an excellent cast today. Boy, oh boy, probably the best panel we've ever assembled. Thanks to all my guests. And as always, peace in the Middle East. God save the king. You know why? Because King Chunky needs your saving. Oh, I'm going to keep it like that because my wife is in the other room and she doesn't like all the snake dancing and the drinking with poison. But we're going to do it anyway. We're dancing with them snakes, and King Chunky's going to be all right. I'll see you fools next Sunday. Peace.
Peace.